We're your hosts, and today we're going to talk about different platforms to sell on. So let's jump right in. We started with eBay because we started with electronics, and that was probably the easiest place. I mean, naturally you gravitate towards eBay first. That's because it's the biggest, most well-known site for selling. And it seemed like the perfect option. Now, we explored possibly going into Amazon. You did a lot more research on the Amazon than I did. But it turned out that it wasn't
for us, at least not yet.
Yeah, it wasn't really what we were looking for because
in the market that we're trying to dip our toes into.
Exactly. We don't want to push towards Amazon if they're not going to have the buyers that we need. And eBay supplied the buyers that we needed. Now, we started with eBay, and throughout this podcast, what we really want to go over is the pros and cons of each platform that we use and what we have used and what we've looked into. We're going to talk about what you should expect when selling on them, and we want to talk about how to successfully sell on them. This is pretty much going to give you a little idea of what platform you should use if you're just getting into it. Now, of course, we'll start with eBay because this is the most popular one. eBay is pretty straightforward, I would say. It's easy to look stuff up. It's easy to filter sold items to see what the price is. It's easy to figure out your titles, everything like that. But as we've started to figure out, as we've listed more and more, it kind of becomes a pain in the ass
to list.
Yeah. So I'm primarily listing on Poshmark and Mercari, which we'll go over later. And Tyler's listing on eBay right now. So we'll give him a little rundown of what eBay entails and what you really have to do and why it's become a pain in the ass.
So eBay lately, they've updated their whole posting procedure. I mean, it requires the UPC number, it requires the item number, the SKU number, requires how much your package weighs, it requires the dimensions of the box, a title, tags, subtitle if you want one, a description, multiple photos. That's all I can think of off the top of my head, but yeah, that's a small list. I mean, it took me over 5 minutes to list one item the other day.
And so obviously there are pros and cons with having all these different things to do. When you have all these different subcategories and categories, it makes it so an item's more specific and you can reach a specific buyer, so you can make more money potentially off a single item. But it also takes more time and it becomes more tedious. Now, eBay, when we started off, was pretty easy. We started off right before they had their latest update, and it was way easier. You could list on the computer, you could type out the listing, and then just essentially airdrop your pictures from your phone to the eBay on your computer. It was really simple, super simple. But you can't anymore because for whatever reason they decided to make it more difficult. Now, I still love eBay because it's where we got started and we still sell a lot on it. The things that we aren't able to sell on other platforms sell a lot better on eBay itself. With eBay, like you said,
you have a much greater reach as well.
Yeah, that's a really good point. eBay, you're going to reach way more people than anywhere else, no matter what you're selling. You can be on a clothes selling app, selling clothes, and be selling clothes on eBay, and you're still going to reach a bigger audience. Maybe not as quickly, but you have the potential. The potential is there. Now, eBay, because there's such a wide variety of things you can sell, their shipping methods are very broad, and you have to do everything. Like Tyler was saying, you have to put in the weight, you have to put in the box dimensions.
I actually just pulled it up right here. You need the condition description, item specifics like the style, the model, the width if you want US. I mean, like.
Yeah, and that's where it differs from other things. Is you have all these things.
The duration. I mean, it goes on.
And I'm not saying it's a negative, because without all those things, it'd be impossible to sell for different markets. Like the electronics, that was easy. We didn't really have an issue with it. It wasn't until we started posting clothes that we realized it was so much different than other apps. Because other apps like Poshmark and Mercari, it takes 30 seconds to list something just because it's straightforward, because they know what you're listing. eBay, you can literally sell anything on it. Literally not including illegal things. But it makes it more tedious when you're doing clothes. eBay is great for electronics. because you're able to, like Tyler was talking about, condition. You can add a lot more pictures. You have more in-depth descriptions.
So the buyers know exactly what they're getting their hands on.
Yeah, because with eBay and stuff, you're selling stuff that may not work. You're selling stuff that has defects, and you really need to be specific about that. You're gonna have issues with your buyers. So let's talk about, once you have something listed, you can track it. You can see how many views you're getting, watchers you're getting, which is a huge plus. So you can do that essentially with everything, but you're going to see likes rather than watchers. Watchers just means that somebody's flagged it and they want to see if the price moves. And so you have that. You have your whole dashboard where you can see views going up and down, if you've done better, worse in months. eBay gives you a lot of information, which makes it a great place to sell. Now, when you sell on eBay, what is a fee? What is it? It's 10%, right?
10%.
10%. And then eBay always works through PayPal. PayPal has a 30-cent and a 2.3% fee, I think. Yeah. So you're losing 12.3% plus 30 cents. And this is just off electronics. It may be different for different items. This is
I think it's 10% all around. I'm almost positive it's 10%.
Yeah, and yeah, until you get into a
higher rating.
Yeah, once you start opening a store and stuff, things change. But essentially, starting off, you're going to be 12.3% and 30 cents on every item. That's not terrible. We haven't really had any issues. An important fact is eBay's fees. It takes it out and adds it up, and you pay it once a month. So you got to make sure you have enough money to pay the fees. So you don't want to take the money out of your PayPal or all of it until you know you have enough to pay the fees. So you have to keep track of that. So that covers eBay essentially, the basics of it. I mean, it goes more in depth, but that's what you're really getting yourself into. You got to remember that you have the 10% from eBay that you're gonna have to pay at the end of each month. You have the 2.3% and 30 cents that is taken out automatically from PayPal into the money that's deposited. Now, let's move on to the other apps we sold on. Right now, we're on Poshmark and Mercari. We were on Grail. Now, this is an interesting story. So, I was out, and I was at Buffalo Exchange. Yeah, it was Buffalo Exchange. And I found a bait polo. For those that you don't know, it's a streetwear brand, really expensive, really exclusive type brand. And so this shirt, it was listed for $10 at the store. And I was like, holy crap, a $10 bait polo, and I grabbed it immediately. And I brought it home, and we listed it, and I checked back on Grailed, which is mainly for selling men's clothes. Or it's a men's clothing. It's kind of an opposite to Poshmark, but Poshmark started branching out to all genders and even kids' clothes. And I listed it, and it disappeared. And I was like, okay, and there's just a glitch. And listed it and disappeared. I was like, oh, well, I don't know what's happening. Turns out that it was getting flagged and removed as being fake every time that I listed it. And it was sending emails, but at the time, I didn't have our email set up going straight to my phone or anything, so I wasn't seeing those emails. And eventually I got on, and it just said that our account was shut down. I was like, what's going on? I went back and checked the email, and I saw like 3 emails saying that it was flagged for fake. And so I had an issue with that because we got shut out of Grail, which was, we'd sold a few things on already. It was actually things were selling pretty quickly. And so I did a bunch of research, and the bait polo was not fake. We ended up selling it actually for like $80 or $90. And I don't know what the issue was, but it's an example of something goes wrong and you move on. That's really why we wanted to include that. Is we were making a lot of sales. That was one of our big things, and it just didn't work. And it's just something you have to move on from. So Grail didn't turn out to be right. If you're selling clothes and you're selling men's clothes, definitely go to Grail. Just be really careful because they're super strict and somehow
make sure you check your emails.
Yeah, make sure you check your emails. They were flagging it at like 2 and 3 in the morning somehow, and I don't think they're based in another country. So honestly, I don't know how they were seeing it and flagging it as fake. But That's for another day. Next up, we had Poshmark. Poshmark is probably my favorite app for selling clothes, definitely. And that's just because it's really, really straightforward. The listing's straightforward, the fees are straightforward, everything's so incredibly straightforward. They take a flat 20% out. And one thing I do want to mention, the 20% sounds high to the 12.3% that eBay is, but with eBay you're paying shipping for a lot of things, because if everybody else is doing free shipping,
then you have to do free shipping as well.
Yeah, clearly you got to do free shipping, no one's going to buy your thing, your item. Poshmark's a flat 20%, but you never deal with shipping. The buyer automatically pays shipping. You automatically get a shipping label sent to your email, and you just go into your email, print it off. It's super straightforward. It's all flat rate shipping. You don't have to worry about any type of box. You just throw it in a box, slap the label on, you're good, as long as it's under 5 pounds. The one thing that's with Poshmark and Mercari too, that's different about eBay, is you don't get your funds immediately. You wait until the person
receives the item.
Yeah, receives, and wait, it's like they gotta like essentially rate it, saying that it's what they thought they were getting. And so your money sits and you wait until the item gets there, so you don't get it immediately. One thing that we really like with eBay, and that really helped at first, is you get your money immediately. We saw very fast growth because the money was just being deposited. There was so many transactions going through PayPal. PayPal does have very strict features where if they don't like their item, eBay will say, and PayPal will rip the money right back out and send it to the person. So it's not like you really have it. So you do have to be careful if you're not selling a lot at first, that you have enough money in there. We did start with 0. We didn't have anything on PayPal. We opened one and just started selling. We took the investment we talked about in an earlier episode on the electronics. That was personal investment, and then it's been just made back.
I don't think we've touched our personal accounts in a year at least.
No, we haven't touched them since that first time we bought, because we made all the money back and kept on going with it. And we've been rolling with it since. We made that initial investment over a year ago. We started.
We made one investment.
No, it'll be a year. It'll be a year in like 2 weeks. February 7th when we opened the eBay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I did. I looked at it the other day. So a year and
we made one investment in
2 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, like what?
$700 investment. If you and a friend or whoever you want to go in with, or even just you by yourself, if you want to do it, just come up with a couple $100. And then this is just because we bought a big lot. You don't even have to do it. You can start with $15 and go to a thrift store and start buying item by item and just slowly build up. It's going to go a lot slower, but it'll work. You can start with $15. That's what I love about this, is it's so easy to start. Now, you kind of got through Poshmark. It's essentially an easy... Super out there. Tyler, we hear a car that Tyler used to have out there, and it's really depressing thinking about all the cars we had and sold. But again, another story. So Poshmark's really easy. I love Poshmark. We actually made 2 sales on it today, and we also sell on Mercari. We'll get into Mercari, and I kind of said that. It sounded like I didn't like Mercari the way I said that. I have nothing against Mercari. I love it. I'm really glad we found it. Mercari is essentially like a low-key eBay, kind of.
Yeah, they sell everything on that, yeah.
Yeah, you can sell everything on Mercari. And we've sold electronics on Mercari. We've sold shoes on Mercari. We've sold clothes on Mercari. And so it's been working well. Now, Mercari does a flat 10%. And they're like Poshmark, where the money goes in, so you don't have any of the PayPal fees. So it's a flat 10%. And then you either choose free shipping or buyer pay shipping. Their shipping isn't as calculated as eBay's. It's all flat rate, so you can either choose 0 to 1 pounds, 1 to 3, 3 to 10. It's all flat rate prices. So a really light item you're going to end up paying $4.50 for. On eBay, the lowest you can pay with the eBay shipping discounts is $2.66 for the lightest item. For like a 1 ounce item, 1 to 3 or 1 to 4 ounces.
Yeah.
It's $2.66. So you end up paying a little bit more. It constantly prompts you that free shipping will sell your item quicker and kind of talks you into it. But again, that's your choice. If things are selling with no free shipping, then don't worry about it. But Mercari has been working well. Now, the pros of Mercari are you can sell anything on it. There is a pretty interactive audience.
Yeah.
I mean, we get more messages there than
more.
anywhere else.
Yeah, it's more of like, I guess, know your buyer, know your seller type type of platform. It's more, I guess you could say it's more like a personal.
Mm-hmm.
More basic. It sort of like gives you the vibe of like going into a store and buying something without actually going into the store and buying something.
Yeah,
having that interaction with the buyer and seller.
That's an awesome analogy because I hadn't even thought about it like that, but it really is. We get so many messages and we talk with people before it. Obviously, you can't, like, if somebody sends you a message and says, hey, text me about this item, they'll shut the account down, not yours, but the person who sent that message immediately because they lose their fee money. So it's not like that, but a lot of messages like, hey, can you do 20? We actually got a message on this shirt that he's wearing, the Supreme shirt. We got a message on this, say, hey, can you do blah, blah, blah? And we said, hey, can you do blah, blah, blah? And the messages back and forth. Now, that makes it more personal, and I do enjoy bartering with people because you start to learn. I've talked to a couple people.
I don't think we've sold a single item on there where we haven't talked to the
I know.
the seller.
The first thing we saw, what was the first? The hundreds bomber, the crew neck. I mean, the hundreds. It was a bomb crew neck. I ended up talking to that guy, and he was just talking about like how shipping works. He was really talking to us. Yeah, that was really cool. He was talking to us how it works, and it was awesome.
Congratulated us on our first sale, and it's like. It was just that personal connection that makes that app so special.
It really is.
That puts it different from the other apps.
It's cool because a lot more interaction, and you may think interaction's bad, but once you get to it, when you interact early on, you can build a relationship with the person. And I say relationship in a very loose sense because you're saying, hey, can you do 20? Hey, can you do 30? Hey, can you do 25? Sold. But if you're able to talk to them and be nice and be really courteous, that'll make it, if there happens to be an issue with, say, shipping or something, it'll make it so much easier in the long run.
And they'll understand a lot more.
They'll be more understanding.
Like, oh, no problem. Like, we had a problem with shipping at one point, and he's like, oh, no problem. We'll work it all out. Happy holidays. It was around Christmas time.
Yeah. They're so nice that they really get it, and if you can build a relationship, it makes things easier. And that goes with anything. I mean, if you're just listening to this because you enjoy business and you enjoy learning and you're not planning on doing reselling, that goes with everything. Building relationships, networking, and being just sociable. Communication is key. We always say that. I mean, I don't know why we say it, but we say it all the time in here. Communication is key. It's what you need to learn to do. But that kind of gets it for Mercari. Now, we talked about kind of the cons, but mostly the pros of each app. Let's go through the cons now of both eBay, or not both, but eBay, Poshmark, and Mercari.
So eBay, like we said, there's a lot to it. There's a lot when you have to list it. I mean, that just makes for the posting to be a little more difficult, but doable. With another thing with eBay, definitely the fees. Those are.
Yeah, they add up and stuff.
Yeah,
and
and the PayPal transactions.
Yeah, you lose money off PayPal.
So yeah, there's that. The whole thing with, I guess the buyer
is always right.
Is that
what you're going with the customer service? Yeah. eBay's customer service is super strict. Where if there's any type of issue,
there doesn't even have to be an issue. It doesn't have to be verified. If the buyer says there's an issue, and you say there's not an issue. eBay will favor with the buyer.
Yeah, eBay almost exclusively sides with the buyer, no matter what.
And I mean, I guess it does make sense because the majority of people do buy on eBay, and they want to have the rep to like the
keep
buyers.
People, yeah.
But yeah, they'll always favor with the buyers, whether or not they are right or not.
Yeah, it was the Dreamcast, remember the Sega Dreamcast Sport. It's an expensive console, pretty rare one, Sport Edition more than the just normal Dreamcast.
We had the full bundle, we had the controller.
We sent everything out, and this guy had said it doesn't work, and we had tested it before. And I actually ended up calling eBay's customer service, and they were not helpful at all. If you need anything on eBay, if you're selling on eBay, you're about to start selling on eBay, a tip is if you need help with something, go to the eBay forums and just try to learn from other people that are talking. It makes everything easier. Do not call eBay. They're not very helpful. But he sent it back. We plugged it in. Sure enough, it worked. I don't know what the issue was.
He was saying it wasn't playing music or something. We played like 3 different games on it.
Yeah.
It was playing music.
Yeah, I don't know what it was, but he we had to deal with it, and we lost because we had to pay shipping back. We have to pay return shipping. The seller has to pay return shipping if something doesn't work, and we lost like $12 or something, which isn't a ton, but I mean $12 is $12. You're trying to maximize profits.
We did end up reselling it for $12 more than we originally sold it for.
Yeah.
So we made the same amount of profit.
Yeah,
in
we
the
cut it
end.
off. But it's still pain. And that's kind of the con I was going to go with the other apps too, is other than Mercari. I haven't had an issue with Mercari yet. I'm sure one will arise at some point because that happens with selling, and that happens with anything, is you're going to have an issue at
But
some point.
You know what? The majority of that might be is the whole like actually communicating with the people.
It's going to be easier not to
Because
have
you're like,
issues.
hey, what is this? Oh, this is a little stain on the shirt. Would you like a better picture?
Yeah.
Here's a better picture. Oh, thanks. I don't think I'm interested anymore. Okay, no problem.
It's better for someone to not be interested than to go through the whole spiel of, hey, I don't want this, give me my money back, blah, 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 and you're arguing, blah, 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 blah. That becomes a huge pain, so be specific and talk to people and make sure you tell them the truth. And that is a good point. That may be why we haven't had an issue on Mercari yet. Poshmark, we just had our first issue, and it wasn't an issue with the buyer, it wasn't an issue with us, it was an issue with shipping. The buyer actually, well, okay, kind of an issue with the buyer. The buyer had put the wrong zip code in, and so the package was getting forwarded back and forth. They had no idea where it was going. She was messaging me, or not messaging, she was commenting on my post, because I don't think you can even message. No, you can't message on Poshmark, actually. There's no DMs or anything. There's just comments, but she was commenting, asking where a package was, blah, 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 saying it wasn't delivered. She put the wrong thing. And so immediately I went to, when I had the first message saying she put the wrong zip code, I went to Poshmark support and I sent them a message and asked what to do, if we're responsible for the item's cost, if we have to refund the money, if nobody gets it, if we have to pay return shipping, or if we have to pay shipping to get it back to her if it ends up back at us. And I never got a response. Poshmark never messaged me back, did not respond at all, still hasn't. The situation's been resolved, the lady got her package, it all worked out. But Poshmark never responded, which makes me nervous in case something something happens and it doesn't get resolved as easily as this one did. It makes me nervous that Poshmark didn't respond that time. I don't know what, it may have just been a fluke, but there's no telling. But Poshmark didn't respond nevertheless. Grailed customer service, it was an odd situation because they thought they were right, I thought I was right. I messaged them, I actually had to message them on Twitter because they wouldn't answer anywhere else. And I got into their customer support on Twitter and I told them the situation. I was like, hey, we didn't have the email up. We didn't see any of the emails. Why were you flagging this at 3 o'clock in the morning? Who's up doing this right now? It's not fake, by the way. Blah, blah, blah. Could you understand? Can we just have a strike or something? And he was like, the message I got back was, no, sorry, we can't do anything about it. Something like that. Really short, simple. And I was like, okay. And so I don't really even think about Grailed anymore because the customer service was terrible. So I think essentially what we're saying now is the cons of the apps are customer service.
Yeah.
It sucks because they all have bad customer service. We don't know about Mercari yet, obviously, but there's no telling what that one's like. They all have bad customer service, but they all have really good communities. You're insured with each app that you have a good community of people on Reddit, on the eBay forums, any forum, that people will really be able to answer your questions. Everyone's had an issue you've had, pretty much. You have to have a very specific issue
To be the first. To be the first issue.
to be the first one. So, you have all that. So customer service isn't totally important unless there's a big issue that has to be resolved. Then you're going to have to fight with it and really just push through to get to someone who's understanding your issue. So, you have a bunch of different options. Let's kind of do a quick run through. I don't think we ever ran through exactly what we would use if we were selling stuff. So let's do a quick run through. If you want to start vintage electronics, vintage video games in general, eBay. Definitely eBay. You should expand out on Mercari when you feel comfortable. You have to be ready to, if something sells on eBay, immediately go to Mercari, cut that off, make sure nobody else buys it. If you want to start with clothes, female clothes, definitely go straight to Poshmark. If you want to start with male clothes, I would actually start with Grailed.
Yeah.
Grailed only had 10% and the shipping. You just put in the shipping, they paid shipping. So Grailed was you probably got the most money out of them, I think. In the end, if you did, because I don't think you ever had to do free shipping. And they sent prepaid labels too. But if you're doing male clothing, I would do both Poshmark and Grailed. I don't think Grailed has anything for female clothing, but there are plenty of other apps that do. We just haven't really expanded into that, so we haven't looked into that.
Right.
Now, I would say with almost anything you're selling, you might as well throw it on Mercari. Just because we both enjoy the app, we both enjoy how it interacts.
Mercari and eBay. There's a market for everything on both of those apps.
And so what we've done is we list everything on Poshmark, Mercari, and eBay, no matter what it is. We're really only doing clothes at this moment. We haven't gotten any electronics in a while, but we'll probably get some more soon. But don't limit yourself. I would suggest picking one of these apps, whichever one fits your basic. And if it's anything that we're not talking about, because clearly we're only in 2 different markets, if you want to do toys, go to eBay. If you want to do
I don't know,
records,
probably eBay.
Go to eBay. If you want to do pet equipment, go to eBay. eBay's going to be your best bet to start, just because it has a market for everything.
I mean, collectible coins, eBay. I would say
eBay's your best bet. Now, other than clothes, you definitely want to start somewhere else that's specific for clothes, because you'll probably get more sales off it and more attention. But no matter what you do, once you become comfortable, expand out into other apps, for sure. We've just boosted our sales going to other apps. If we were stuck on eBay, we'd have made, 7 or 8 sales out of the 30 we've made so far since October, I think. Just because we have different apps, because we're selling, I think, across the board, probably equally on all the apps. Kind of. Not very, but eBay's a little less, but some things are selling there that we'd never sell on the other apps. So it's good to expand. Every app you go to,
there's different markets on every app. Everyone's looking for something different on every app.
Yeah, I mean, if you post the same thing on Poshmark, Mercari, and eBay, you're going to reach 3 different people that may be looking for that. If there's no one on eBay and no one on Mercari looking for that item, there may be someone on Poshmark mixing around. Is there anything that specifically stands out to you that we haven't covered that really highlights something important about one of these apps?
Not that I can think of, honestly. It's just, I guess, expansion is key. We were stuck at a solid point.
$1,400, I think.
We were stuck at $1,400 in our PayPal
for so long.
For, I want to say, I don't know,
it
probably
was
2
3
months.
or 4 months. Yeah, it was a long time.
And honestly, what fixed that was expansion. That's right when we started. That's right when we looked into Poshmark. That's right when we're like, what can we do to get past this barrier right here? We've been stuck in this for months. We're not making any gains. How can we make gains? Expansion. We expanded to Mercari. We expanded to Grailed. We expanded to Poshmark. Grailed didn't work, obviously, but we did. And since then, we've been climbing up the ladder. We're
doing much better now. We've since October when we started doing clothes. Now we have got another electronics lot. We've been doing that too, but since then we're making so much more money, way more constant sales. These other apps have really helped.
Like I said, we had 2 sales today. We had a sale yesterday. We had 2 sales the day before.
Yeah,
it's constant.
Yeah, I mean, we're hoping obviously to get to the point.
And obviously they weren't all on Poshmark. We weren't selling all of them on Poshmark. We had 1 on eBay. We had 2 on Poshmark. We had 1 on Mercari. I mean, it goes all over the board.
Exactly. It really does. It does count to expand.
If we were just on eBay, we'd have 1 sale in the past
rather than the 5.
Since we're on 3, we have 5. So
yeah, it does help. So I really hope that helps anybody out there watching that is saying, where do I go to sell? How do I start this? I have these items. I have some stuff in my attic that I don't want anymore. Where do I go?
It's practically like an online yard sale.
Essentially, yeah. Honestly. If you're not going to do it as business, make some money on the side. It's so easy. Shipping out, you pack some stuff in a box, throw some tape on it, slap the label on it, you walk in the pot. And post office, if you do USPS, you don't even have to wait in line. You just walk up to the counter and drop your prepaid package off. It takes 10 seconds to get out of your car, get inside, and get out back to your car. It's so easy. So I'd suggest doing it, and I really hope that these apps that we've gone through and the details of each one are going to help you decide where to start. Now, how I want to end this, as you can tell, clearly, this is our first video podcast. We're going to keep doing these. I think it's more fun to watch. It's more fun to us to do because we get to dress up in all of our clothes and showcase our items. And how I want to end them each time is to kind of go over what we found this week. So behind this, we've laid out some stuff. And I want to go over a few things. And I want to encourage everyone, if you like anything, hit us up on Instagram at the Flipstas. That's TheFlipstas_apparel. It'll be linked in the bio. Not in the bio, in the description. And you can grab any of these things. Be sure to DM us. Hit us up with some offers. Let us know. But I want to go over a few items. These were all from the same store, and this isn't everything we got in the last week.
Yeah.
But all this stuff we have back here are kind of the things I want to highlight. We got this super dope striped polo. That is just a nice color. I've been eyeing this thing for a while, and it finally went on sale at half off. So we got this for really cheap. We have this polo Ralph Lauren spell out, and this thing is super nice, super nice material, real thick. We have a ASAP Rocky striped Guest tee. This is probably one of the nicer things we found this week. We have a bootleg Dare shirt, which was pretty cool. We got this thing for 99 cents. This is a nice shirt. We really like this one.
I've been seeing it at the store for I don't know, a month now.
Yeah, you never know until you kind of figure out what you want, and then you can really grab something. They hit the right price point. Texas High School Wrestling, a single stitch 90s vintage tee. This thing is super cool. I'm really digging that shirt.
Yeah.
And then we found our first Champion jersey. And these things are like the grails of jerseys. It's an official game Champion. So Champion made jerseys for people for the NBA in the 90s, and they don't anymore, so they don't make these anymore, and that's why they're so special, because they're strictly from the 90s and made specifically for the NBA players. So Champion jerseys are always great things to grab. But we just wanted to go over a few things. We wanted to make it interesting, make it fun to watch to the end, and you get to see the items. And if anybody that's watching wants to come on our Instagram and wants one of these items that we showcase at the end of any of our podcasts, we'll give you a 10% discount on anything that you see, each item. If you come from and you mention the keyword, which is Grailed. If you mention Grailed in the description, in the DM that you send us, we'll give you 10% off on the item. So make sure you go check it out. We want to thank you for listening. Signing off, it's Cody.
This is Tyler. We'll see you next week.